We're back here on Overtime on WOTM. Mark, today was National Signing Day. Of course, this day used to be the big one until about 4 or 5 years ago when the NCAA instituted a early signing period. So a lot of the shine goes to that early period where you sign most of your class. Alabama signed one guy today, a tight end. Auburn signed a couple of guys today. The main newsmakers weren't necessarily today, but teams polish off their classes. We'll take a look at the team rankings. This is according to our friends over at 27sports.com. Texas A&M, they had the lead after the November signing period or December signing period. They maintained that lead, signed a few guys today, and they wind up number 1 overall both on 24/7 Sports as well as ESPN, and number 2 on Rivals. Bama finishing at number 2. There you see they signed 4 5-stars and 18 4-stars, meanwhile 7 5-stars for Texas A&M and a bunch of players in the ESPN top 300. You see, though, also those two kind of closed the gap there, and then Georgia at number 3. So 3 teams out of the SEC right there, bang, bang, bang. Then some of your usual suspects like Ohio State and Texas and Penn State. Notre Dame with a new coach, still coming into a respectable class there at number 7. Michigan, a lot of questions if Jim Harbaugh was going to go to the NFL. He apparently interviewed today with the Minnesota Vikings, didn't take that job, so he's going back to Michigan. They have a top 10 class. Oklahoma, also with a new coach, Brent Venables, they sit there at number 9, and North Carolina coming in at number 10. Yeah,
that doesn't surprise me.
Don't really expect that, but it's a really, really great staff there with head coach Big Mac over there with the Tar Heels. Texas A&M, though, coming in at number 1. And that's kind of where we'll kick off this part of our talk, because we knew Texas A&M was going to be number 1. But the thing is that if you look at some of the corners of the internet, Texas A&M is not number 1 necessarily all because of their recruiting. A lot of it is based on, you guessed it, the dollars. Now, of course, NIL is now fully instituted. And there's a lot of people, and there's some people right now on the internet, some really comes on more on message boards, some popular message boards that said Texas A&M, I'll give you the short wrap-up of it, Texas A&M essentially using its boosters to come up with these small little pockets of fortunes, $30 million, $30 million, and then they pay these recruits. That's alleged. Now, of course, that's kind of the secret that's out there, kind of the elephant in the room. However, you'll hear from Jimbo Fisher coming up in just a bit. But first, some coaches talking about it. This was Lane Kiffin just yesterday on that same subject, and we'll discuss next.
We don't have the same, funding resources as some of these schools do, for these NIL deals. And so it's basically dealing with different salary caps. We now have a sport that has completely different salary caps, and some of these schools are, 5-10 times more than everybody else of what they can pay the players. So I know nobody uses those phrases, but that is what it is. So I joked the other day, I didn't know if Texas A&M was going to incur a luxury tax, and how much they paid for their signing class.
So that was yesterday with Lane Kiffin, and he knows to be a troll. He's known to be a troll. If you follow him on Twitter, he is a troll.
He's probably that guy.
Exactly. However, Nick Saban, he also held his press conference a little bit later this afternoon. He said he didn't name names in here, but this is how he qualified the ruling with the NIL and the way that it's kind of serving in the world of recruiting.
I don't think players should make a decision about where they go to school relative to how much money they're going to make in name, image, and likeness. I think all the players on our team who made money in name, image, likeness this year, had representation on their own, and all those deals were created on their own based on their brand and what they did. There's nobody at this institution that had anything to do with any of that. I just hope that it doesn't get to where name, image, and likeness deals are created, for high school players to get them to go to a particular institution. And I'm not accusing anybody of that. I'm not saying anybody did that. That's not why I'm saying this. I'm just saying philosophically, I think it's great that players can earn the right to make money through name, image, and likeness when they're on a college team. I just hope it doesn't get to that point because then you open up, a whole new can of worms when it comes to recruiting.
And then final thing, we'll have Jimbo Fisher. We'll get into this after this. Jimbo Fisher was heated after all of this, and then he held his press conference after they wrapped up their signing class, of course, the number 1 class in the country. Of course, he had to talk about the rumors going on about that, and he denies all of it. And here's Coach Fisher.
When I first heard it, I laughed. I said, oh, yeah, what a clown. I mean, I didn't even think anything of it because I don't have social media. And it kept building, and lately I've heard more about it. To me, it's insulting to the players that we recruited that that's why they would come here. You ever been to a game here? You ever come to school here and see the education? You ever talk about the 12th man, the Aggie Network when you're done? There ain't a better university in this country. And it's insulting to what you say. And then to have coaches in our league and across this league to say it, clown acts. All right? Irresponsible as hell. Multiple coaches in our league. And the guys griping about NIL, griping about transfer portal, using it the most and bragging about it the most. That's the ironic part. You want character? I'll take it with any of y'all. It's a joke. It does piss me off. We worry about the kids and social media and internet. How about grown-ups? How about the guys that are supposed to be setting an example? How about writers who are supposed to be writing the right thing? How about coaches who are supposed to be doing the right thing? And I'll tell you what, I know how some of those guys recruit too. Go dig into that. I know the history, I know the tradition, and I know things. Trust me, you don't want to go down that avenue. It's ridiculous, and it's irresponsible, and it's unbelievable. I ain't just talking about one. Multiple people got NIL issues. It's funny, when Nick Saban said his quarterback got an $800,000 deal, it was wonderful. Now it ain't wonderful no more, huh? But ours, we ain't got that. Ours are on record what comes up. We ain't doing all them big deals. There ain't none on our place that we know of. That's funny when you do it. It's hypocrite. And then we gripe about the transfer portal, then you guys take more than everybody. What's about that? And what goes on? The hypocrisy is a joke. It's an absolute joke, and it's insulting to our staff, how hard we work, to how we do things, and it's insulting to Texas A&M, because there ain't a better place to go to school and play ball. If you don't like it, we're coming on. Get used to it.
Hot. My man was hot. Okay, what do you make of this whole thing as you kind of piece it all together, knowing and not being naive about what's going on with NIL?
I noticed how many times he took on and put off his glasses. That shows you how annoyed he was.
Yeah.
But I think that this was expected.
Yeah.
When the NCAA left it so wide open, you were going to have teams that came up with creative ways to pay people. Now, I'm not saying that this happened, but you know how rumors get started.
For sure.
You know, I mean, somebody writes something, and then it becomes fact to somebody.
Right.
You know, and now there's hardly any standards as far as ethical standards or as far as the truth. All you got to do is read some of Washington's, or some of the mainstream media. How often they've been wrong.
Exactly.
The national health organizations, the things that they're putting out and promoting. There's so much misinformation out there. So when you hear something that's interesting, you say it, and then all of a sudden it becomes fact.
Right.
And I think that's kind of what Jimbo Fisher was talking about. Now, you have Kiffin, who of course loves to ruffle feathers.
For sure.
And that's what he intended to do, was start something where he said A&M is not being open with how they're getting their players. He wanted them to come out and say, yeah, we did this.
Right.
So that way it can maybe look a little more diabolical. I don't know. I mean, to me, that's just a smart way to take advantage of rules that the NCAA left wide open.
Right.
So if they're going to pull together their resources and do that, they have every right to do it. It might not be great for the other coaches in the league or for college football overall.
Right.
But it's something that isn't illegal and are taking advantage of, and they're trying to win too. So I understand it both ways. But just to see the banter back and forth and how annoyed each of these coaches, because even Saban, you can tell Saban was annoyed. He wouldn't have said that, hey, we had guys that got it themselves. You know, he wouldn't have said that if he didn't feel like there was something that he felt they did wrong with doing that. And I think anytime you get together alumni or you get together boosters and you say, hey, let's pool together all this money and let's start going and getting players, that you kind of just feel that that's an overall wrong thing to do.
Right.
You know,
it
takes away some of the fairness. Yeah.
Right. It wasn't the spirit of NIL. NIL was made to help guys be able to market themselves and use their own creativity.
Yeah.
But like you said, it's one of those things where you kind of saw this coming, and I think Jimbo Fisher is a little bit more upset about how it's being portrayed out there. And of course, he's sitting right there in Texas. There's a lot of oil money out there. There's a lot of, and Texas A&M is a good school. It's a great school with a lot of great alumni who are very wealthy, who can help this program win that championship that they want to win. We'll see how the other teams did out of the SEC according to 24/7 Sports. The thing that sticks out to me is the Auburn Tigers. After a very tumultuous offseason, they're sitting there at number 18, being out-recruited by teams like Kentucky and teams like Missouri. Is that concerning for Auburn?
Of course.
Yeah.
I mean, just the whole aura of what's went on there to end the season after they got off to a good start and everything looked kind of promising, and then the inconsistency, then the players leaving,
right,
and then maybe Harston leaving, and all the rumors surrounding that. So when they put together one of the weaker recruiting classes in the SEC, and football is still the main.
Right.
Everyone loves the basketball teams doing well,
right,
but football is really what people really, really love here. So when they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing and going out and getting recruited, why is Kentucky able, and why is Missouri able to go out and do better than Auburn in recruiting? It just shouldn't happen.
It shouldn't happen in today's day and age. But we'll see if Coach Harston can pull it all together. Coming up next here on our final segment of Overtime, we'll have some fun with the Super Bowl and some different factoids you might not have known about Super Bowl 56 coming up next.